Hey, I'm Matty, and this is Moses. We're the co-founders of Pixlmob and PropMedia.com, and this is the Prop Media Podcast where we talk all things property and media.
Today we're talking with Craig Rowe. He is a contributing writer for Inman News. If you don't know what Inman is, it is the news source for the real estate industry. So if you wanted to educate yourself on the real estate industry, Inman would be a great place to start. So we're talking AI, technology, PropTech, all kinds of things that Craig reviews on Inman on the podcast today. So come along. All right, Craig, welcome. And just to kick us off, introduce yourself and just briefly, what's your story into the real estate space for those who don't know you already?
Yeah, I'm Craig Rowe. I'm a technology columnist in the industry. I write primarily for Inman and its sister event company, Blueprint. I have been helping readers of Inman understand technology for a little over 10 years. I came into the space early on when I was quite young, early 20s. I started out in publishing for a couple of years and then ended up getting into marketing for CBRE in the commercial real estate space.
Yeah.
And this was very late 90s, 98, 99, around there.
Oh, this is pre-internet MLS days.
Oh, yeah. It was, in fact, one of my primary roles early on was helping CBRE launch its website. I was charged with going around to a lot of regional offices and teaching commercial real estate brokers how to create content to put onto these different office templates. So I lived in the Triangle region of North Carolina. So that's Raleigh, Durham, Research Triangle area. And I was going up to Virginia, Charlotte, Nashville, went out to California. I think one or two other, maybe Memphis at the time, they may have had another office. Moving around, helping commercial brokers, all kinds of different marketing. At the time, I mean, some of the technologies that we were putting in place, or that we were putting in place at the time, if I created an animated PowerPoint for these guys, they were blown away by it. Loved it. Yeah.
The days of clip art and PowerPoint.
Yep. Yeah. I had to create a significant proposal in order to get them to buy me Photoshop. And then the full Adobe suite. I had to pitch it.
That was another pitch. Yeah.
Yes, my bosses hey, I need InDesign. I don't even know if it was InDesign. It may have still been PageMaker at the time. If we wanted an aerial photo of property, we would hire an airplane. We would hire a pilot to fly over the industrial site, photograph it. A few days later, I'd get a photo. I would then scan that photo, bring it into Photoshop, and manually put all the information on it. We'd have to wait another week for traffic counts.
Wow.
Fun stuff. Incredible, right?
Yeah. That is a different era. But
that is a 30-second process now.
Yeah, then that's awesome. That's illustrative of the type of perspective you bring to the technology changes, because you've seen everything from pre-internet all the way to the most cutting edge kinds of startups today.
Yeah, and that led me into analyzing, looking at technology products that would overlap with the real estate space. I was recruited over to a boutique tenant rep firm, and we wanted to buy lease administration software to resell to multi-site biotechs and .coms, right? So in the Research Triangle, that's a pharmaceutical hotbed, a lot of startups coming in and out of there. So I was charged with finding this lease administration software. I was very fortunate that they also hired a couple of consultants, much older than me, very experienced. They've been around a long time. And I basically learned from them how to perform due diligence on software companies, what questions to ask, how to look into how to examine your own business and find out what processes are most ripe for being flattened and consolidated and expedited through software. I kind of just learn to find and identify repetition and redundancies in real estate space, right? And that helped. That kind of set the tone for for where I am today. I spent a little bit of time in nonprofit academic communications for a while, and then I got back into real estate selling and marketing multifamily property. Um, I was in charge of marketing, implementing technology solutions and different marketing um, products for a boutique multifamily investment firm. And then 2008 happened, the Great Recession, 2009, late 2008. I remember exactly when that happened. Actually, I didn't sell a ton of property. My primary role was to do marketing, but I had a license and understood the business well enough. And I was out showing a gentleman a number of different 4-unit buildings. He wanted to buy 16 units, 4 different 4-unit buildings. And our local mortgage guy wouldn't call him back. So after a few days, the client called me and said, "Hey, I can't get a hold of your mortgage guy. Do you have someone else I can speak with?" And I was like, "Well, he's our most trusted dude." And I called him and he goes, "I only picked up because it was you guys." He said, "We've been sitting around the office for a week, just shooting the shit, staring at one another. We were told to legally not to pick up the phone and talk to anybody." And I was like, "Well, what is happening?" And that was it, man. And then the gates just opened, and then within a week, we were doing the same thing, just sitting around, staring at one another, waiting to see what was going to happen. I was fortunate enough. Our broker at the time paid me, he paid us all through the operating account for as long as he could. And we went from about an 8-person, very streamlined, good company down to just him, just the guy who founded it.
Wow.
And that was it. He said, "Look, I'm still going to do some marketing during all this, and you can handle that for me. Whatever writing I need, you can do my newsletter." And that was kind of it. I went out on my own and eventually found Inman and pitched them on just writing, just being a freelance writer for them. And at the time, the editor was like, "Look, we need somebody to look into, to report on technology products, do reviews. Is that something you're interested in?" And here we are.
Nice. How long ago was that?
That was 2014, 15.
Okay.
15, I started with Inman, I believe.
So you've been doing it with them for 10 years.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am technically still a freelance writer. Inman is just kind of my primary client. I've been very fortunate, to have the kind of flexibility and access that's allowed me, which has been great. And I've spent time in another industry for quite a while as well. And it's always worked out really well, but it's been really fun learning this industry, meeting all the different people, seeing companies come and go for better or worse. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun.
I think the first time I heard your name, it was a different product, but we were on Inman's Startup Alley in New York, and someone came by and said, like, Craig Rowe, and it was in a almost terrified tone of it will like make or break a company in the real estate space. But you'll give a very honest review of the product, which at the time was a little intimidating.
Well, I'm sorry you felt that way. I've heard that. People have said that. I don't know if it's necessarily true, but I never, like, I tell people this, like, whenever it's a new company and I don't look to run down, like, I'm not, I don't, but sometimes it'll happen. I try and tell folks, like, look, if you make big, broad claims, I have to call you out on that. If you're saying you're the only one that does something, or if you use, these absurd cliches, like, we're changing the game, like, I'm gonna have to, like, question that, right? And that happens. Like, I have on occasion seen some guys that have come in laterally, like from maybe Silicon Valley down the road from where I live now, and are like, "Yeah, real estate doesn't know what it's doing. We're gonna just run it down," and then they end up just
crashing and burning because they don't know the space.
Yeah, and I'll hold them to that. And the demo and the initial interview may be a little more cynical about their product if they come in with those kind of big bragging points. Look, at the same time, like, I want to see good products in the industry. I also want to see good people.
Yeah.
I have, like, and if there's some people being cocky or a little abrasive, I can bring it right back in spades. And I have done that on occasion. But for the most part, software is always evolving. And if you're a good person just trying to make a difference, and your product is mostly good, that's good. I'll say that, and it because it evolves over time, right? A lot of the times I'm looking at the products, they haven't been in the market long, so they haven't had a lot of feedback,
Yeah.
and they don't necessarily know how best to go to market. Are they going to are they going to partner with MLSs? Are they going to, sell directly to brokerages or individual agents? Like what the plan is. So I try to give people a lot of leeway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, journalistic integrity and speaking the truth about the products is ultimately good for the companies and the industry. So I appreciate that about you now, even if I was terrified at the time.
Yeah, and it's also hard. I have absolutely had calls from people that are be like, "Hey, we're going to call this person if, we need you to look at this and you need to say this," and that absolutely happens. Um, I've been very fortunate. Inman is always errs on the side of journalistic integrity, and it helps that I am a contractor and I'm not an employee, so I that gives me more freedom and a little more space um, to be honest. And the only times I've ever had to change something is if I actually found myself being a little bit more abrasive than I need to be. That's totally reasonable. I may have wanted to say something clever and it came across as derogatory
Sure.
or so I'll fix that. I'll realize it afterwards and say, okay, that's fair. I can change that kind of stuff.
If I can, I'm going to take us back just a second. For some of our listeners, I mean, a lot of our listeners in our core audience have been real estate photographers who they're mom and pop companies. They shoot houses all day, work directly with realtors. So maybe this might be the first time they've ever heard the term PropTech, or maybe don't even know what Inman is. Can you take a second and kind of just explain what those things are? And I'm going to throw maybe a hard one on the end of that. Could you kind of give us a state of the industry, where PropTech is in real estate and how it's adopting tech?
Sure. So Inman is a trade publication for the real estate industry. They report on news throughout the industry. That could be what's going on with Zillow. It can be hard reporting into like this Compass and Anywhere deal, as well as these recent lawsuits that have all come down in the industry. So yeah, Inman is a trade publication for the real estate industry. Its primary audience is real estate agents. PropTech is any sort of technology product, software primarily, that helps real estate agents do their job. And that's quite broad. And it could be I absolutely put media technologies, photography scheduling platforms, the work Pixlmob does, all is into PropTech, as well as enterprise CRMs or enterprise document management and transaction workflow solutions, all part of PropTech. And you could expand that into the commercial space, which is what Blueprint is about, the other company I mentioned that's under the Inman brand. That gets into commercial real estate, from tenant experience solutions to managed Wi-Fi to property management solutions, right? So any sort of software or technology that is involved in the real estate space can be classified as PropTech. Now, the state of it is, I don't think it's much different than it was even when I started. There is a lot of new products coming and going really quickly. And I guess I would say the state of PropTech now, it's a little bit more mature. It is coming around to where I'm seeing products enter the market in a more mature phase. Now, a lot of that is also driven by the venture capital space, because VCs they're not investing in ideas as much anymore. They want to invest very much like a real estate investor in a revenue stream. So they want really passionate founders. They want proven case studies. And I think the market is responding to that, the PropTech market. I'm seeing products come to me a lot more in a much more mature phase than they used to be.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think if you're coming in with the idea that you're going to change the whole industry, I think you should back down a little bit from that idea. It's okay to just do one thing well. It's okay to have a niche solution within the space. Hey, look, we do one thing well. We send email for agents and help them nurture leads. And we have 1,000 proven templates and we have 500 subject lines and we're really good at doing this. Awesome. Do that. Like the industry needs that. That's okay. You don't have to be everything. Like you have to understand when you say you're going to change the industry, what that weight means.
It's a
Are you
big
going to,
industry.
yeah. Are you going to be Zillow? Because they changed the industry. Or to take just another outside industry, like Uber changed the transportation industry. Now it didn't run the taxi industry into the ground. Now you just have you have another consumer option. Same with Airbnb. It didn't put hotels out of business. It gave consumers another option.
Yeah.
Right. It created legislation. Like those are ways you change an industry. So yeah, I think the state of PropTech is more mature. It's becoming more sophisticated and strategic. Whereas I think the industry, the practitioners, the agents, they're really obsessed with leads. They're very transactional.
Yeah.
I'm seeing more products come in that are like, look, we're just going to work with whatever lead source you have, and we're going to use that as data, and we're going to power some sort of back office solution that helps the enterprise, the internal enterprise, run better. And that's what I'm seeing more of. And that's especially, I'm sure you probably going to have some questions about AI maybe, but that is where I'm seeing AI and more sophisticated technologies do work, is on the back office. It's helping the administration, it's helping the management run better, and then the benefits are filtering out. My take recently is that a lot of software has kind of, I don't know if it's a software, a lot of agents have failed to communicate, to deliver the benefits their technology offers to the consumer. So this is why I think not too far from now, some consumer focused real estate tech is going to come into the market and just really solve something big for the consumers, because real estate agents, they're very busy. They're very obsessed with leads, and the adoption rates in the industry are not great. So you have so many good software products and technologies out there, and the industry is having a very hard time taking those benefits and improving the consumer experience.
So if I'm hearing you right, like you're seeing lots of good software come to the industry, but you're not seeing a lot of great implementation of chosen software by the real estate agents. And that's one of the weak points of the industry adopting new technology, is the actual agent choosing to adopt.
Correct.
Why do you think that is? I mean, we've seen all the statistics about like average realtors, and they tend to be older, and we're seeing a lot of new tech. Do you think that is a factor, or there's other things at play?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that. It's the transactional nature. It's the fundamental model, the independent contractor model of the real estate industry. You have a lot of folks who come into the space and this is not their particular fault. This is a big issue. You have a lot of brokerage models that just want butts and seats, right? They collect fees, they want transactions, they bring people in. There's not a ton of mentorship. A lot of real estate agents do not make a lot of money for their first couple years, right? Because it's a much harder business than they are promised.
Yeah.
So as a byproduct of that, they honestly don't always have the money to invest in these software products, right? They become highly, I don't know if obsessed, they're just driven to get new business. So that is, everything has to revolve around leads. How do I get more leads? How do I do more marketing? But the other issue is, their marketing it's not always really super strategic. They kind of confuse just straight advertising for marketing. And there's a big difference there, right? Marketing, advertising is an offshoot of marketing. You got to have a strategy. I think a lot of real estate agents are not taught, and they don't understand that you have to treat yourself like a business, right? And as a result of that, they don't quite understand yet what processes can be automated through technology, what parts of their business can be made faster, smarter, more affordable by using the right technology tools. They are, I also put a lot of blame on I I place a lot of blame on NAR. For so long, for 100 years, this big lobbying group, you know, with I think the best of intentions to benefit the real estate industry, to communicate the benefits of homeownership to Americans, all terrific causes. But in the midst of that, the real estate industry has failed to learn how to to demonstrate their own value, right? Without the on-ramp that NAR's lobbying creates, a lot of these agents are like, well, what do you what do you mean you don't want to use an agent or you don't want to work with me? I can help you find houses.
Yeah.
I have Zillow for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have AI tools now that can give me a CMA just as fast as you can. Like, that is not where your value lies. So there's a big problem with communicating value to the consumer. And as a result, they don't always cut a lot of deals. It's hard to make enough money to invest in some of these software products. That is a big problem with the adoption. They just, when they have a few bad months, they look to cut something. And hey, I'm spending $500 a month on this technology tool. I logged in once in the last 2 weeks. I'm going to cut that.
Yeah, those recurring expenses have got to go.
Cut once a year. You look, and I even remember advice when I was an agent. One of the coaches was like, "Yeah, just you have a credit card, you put it all on, and then cancel it once a year because then you got to reevaluate it all." And that kind of thing is like replete in the industry of just this. You're going to buy technology, you're not going to use it, so you're going to need to cancel it. It's literally like a coaching topic.
Yes. How unhealthy is that? Yeah, totally. It is. There's a very low barrier to entry. I would always use a real estate agent. I believe firmly in their value, but I would not just use any real estate agent.
Yeah.
Like, there are some that are really good and provide so much value. And those are the ones I think the industry should elevate and focus on. Your value is not sending me houses. You can't even keep up with the apps that are on everyone's phones anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I can set up alerts and I'm going to be inundated by these automations sending me things that match, right? Or that I prefer. If it's a good search app, it'll have AI and it'll know what I like without out from under the boundaries of the checkbox filters that are so common. But yeah, so the real estate agent's value is not in just sending houses, and they have a hard time understanding that because it's just not taught to them. And I've seen this. I have talked, I mean, yeah, I've been in there. I've seen it. It's unfortunate because you have good people who want to work hard. They want to be good at real estate. They're just not told what it's really like when they get into the trenches.
So let's turn that around. So you're saying a lot of like, there's an entitlement. NAR has created this space where there's this promise of you just come in and you make 100K by, falling asleep at your desk. Like, there's this vibe, but like, if you're saying it's not this, like, what is it? Like, what are you seeing great real estate agents differentiate themselves with? And maybe particularly because of your seat in the industry, like, are they differentiating themselves with key technologies or other things?
Well, okay. So if you say most of the really good real estate agents I know, at least, have come from success in another industry.
Yeah. I've seen that a lot too. There's a lot of teachers and police officers that crush it. And other industries too, but
yeah, but that's likely because they're coming in with they know a ton of people.
Yeah.
Right. That often helps. You cannot, you can't be reticent, right? You can't be kind of shy. I would also say most of the other good real estate agents, this isn't universal, but I think it's safe to say the majority of top producers are very outgoing people.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of times
they're not reticent. They can talk to anybody. They're communicative. They're verbose. They can get out and, they're not afraid to market. They're not, right. You have to be able to just get out there and do that stuff. I think other good agents know where their value is. They know what to outsource, right? What to streamline, what to use technology to do. And they also know that a lot of this stuff is an investment. They may pay 10 grand a month in leads, but they know that 10 grand, half of that money is being used to filter out the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
They see it coming in, but they're going to get 2 or 3 good leads out of a big stack of leads they see every month. or they know how to use either a virtual assistant or a specific technology product that can further qualify the lead. Lead qualification is a big problem in the industry. People don't know how to really implement systems to qualify a good lead. They don't know how to separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. So that's another issue. I mean, that's what I think good agents can do. They know where their value lies, and I think, look, this ties into photography, right? A good agent knows that good photography is worthwhile, and they need to invest in it and build those relationships, and they need to hang on to their relationships too, like prove value. When I was selling investment property, we had certain landlords, certain investors, guys we knew that were close to our company, who we could talk to them about the market. We could put them in front of problematic properties and they knew how to solve it. But they were possessive of their contractors. If they had a roof guy or an AC guy, they'd be like, "No, I'm not going to give you his name." And we would just joke about
Yeah.
it. Like, "Look, I got another friend who needs
Protect
this."
the
He's like,
Rolodex.
yeah, 100%. And when it comes to like good photographers and good vendors, I think good real estate agents protect those people because it's a business asset.
Yeah.
Right? It's an investment for them. Especially when it comes to photography and creative services. Look, I started school as an art major before I became a writing major. I am a big proponent of all the creative services that you can deploy to make a property look better, to make yourself look better as an agent. And yeah, hang on to those. Good agents know that, and they know how to protect those people in their creative sphere as well.
A lot of our core audience is real estate photographers and videographers. So like insight into how the industry works and the mind of the real estate agent is super helpful. Would love to kind of turn us toward your thoughts on, maybe specifically, let's dive into AI and emerging tech that connects with property media being created, like AI photo editing, virtual staging, anything you want to bring up. And like your honest take on what's coming versus traditional methods and things like that.
Yeah, I think AI is absolutely going to have a role in photography and media services. I never thought it would affect me as a writer, but here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like 10 years ago, people would have said that would be the last thing AI would do. And it ended up being like one of the first things AI could do.
Up until 6 months ago, every time Google would suggest a word in an email I was writing, I would deny it. No, because I don't want to feed the machine. But here we are. I think, like other services, like other industries, AI is going to make you better at it. I don't think yet it can create a nice looking image, but there is real value in knowing how to frame a picture, what is going to sell, what's going to work. Good photographers are artists. They have talent. They know how to position something. I would think that there's a lot of value in having AI do some editing, though. Test it for a while, figure out if it's doing what you want it to do, then yeah, let it be faster. If you can turn around, if you can take a lot of great photos, but you can turn that around days faster than someone that's manually editing all your images, and it's good, then yeah, use it. Like, embrace that. That's going to separate you. What kind of internal processes can it do better for you? Can you use it in, and I don't know, I haven't like jumped into deep into a lot of media platforms or how AI is affecting them, but I would imagine you can still flatten your own workflows. Can you identify 10 images of the kitchen and then give me 5 of the best or something? Like, I'm sure there's ways that it can be automated to help the photographer make better decisions faster, to better appease their clientele, and then they can market on that. Look, you're going to get better images for me faster, and because I'm not manually editing, I'm going to be able to cut costs a little bit. If you can knock hours or days off your process and deliver your photos faster to the agent, I think that's tremendous value. And if doing so allows you to cut costs somewhere, that could be an advantage, and you can turn that, like you can deliver those cost savings to your client even better.
Do you have a sense for like, obviously AI is super powerful with automations, but like,
Mhm.
if you could project this out, how automated do you think the real estate could get? I mean, this is really broad, but I mean, um,
Or maybe just listings. Like how automated can creating a listing get in your mind?
Oh, well, creating a listing, I mean, if you're talking about like within an MLS, like that's kind of where it starts. That's the first place an agent is going to go, is they're going to build out a listing in their local MLS. More MLSs have partnered with a company called RestB.ai. It's a company out of Barcelona that uses computer vision.
yeah,
Yeah.
we've
Right?
met them. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. They're doing a ton, and a number of the MLSs are using them to create property descriptions faster and input data into their MLS forms faster. So that is becoming very automated. Every MLS has different input rules, has different data standards, and there's all kinds of industry efforts to standardize all this stuff. Those are big issues. Those are always going to create some delays in how fast a listing can get up. I think if you're an agent who does things like, if you like create coming soon listings, I think you could turn one of those around in 15 minutes. Look, I got my photographer sent me these images. He sent me the first good one of the exterior. I'm going to put this up on my webpage, and I'm going to use that photo. I'm going to use the AI to create a quick description based on that photo. And look, this is going to be open to the market in 2 days. Here it is right now. And they've cranked it out. I think it's going to, like everything, it's going to go faster and faster. But I think, look, a lot of it's going to have to start with an image.
Yeah.
All these AIs, yep, they need that good photography to create the descriptions, and people are always going to want to see it.
There's this latent library of information about the home with every shoot. You provide a 25, 30 photos, and you've got way more information than you could put in the MLS by hand.
I love this concept. So we had for a while the idea of the smart home, right? When there was just appliances, right? Nest cams, all this. We were calling that smart home. That's not making the home smarter. It's connecting the home. Big difference, right? But now, with what computer vision can do, with a few photos, you're exactly right. You have so much data on a house. It's amazing what that can identify through an AI. And now suddenly the home has all this data attached to it as a result of the images. I want to know when we're going to start having data packages that we transfer when we sell a house. Right? So
Totally,
let's say
that would be pretty great.
You have all these images that have created, they understand the appliances, right? They're looking, you could scan a barcode, but now they can identify the model year of the appliance, the finishes on the walls and floors, and colors, and all this kind of stuff. All becomes data, all gets put into a package. Then you tie that into the connected home, all the appliances, when the house is warmer, colder, when the shades drop, when all these other things happen, right? What the activity is outside the house, how often cars are going by thanks to the cameras we all have on the front of our houses, right? All this information, because if you sell a house, where's all that data? Like, if you think about it, technically someone still has access to all that data in your house somewhere. I want to know when we're going to be able to just start, look, I'm transferring the house, here are the keys, whatever it is, here's a secure link for you to log in, download all the data, and then it deletes my account. I never have access to it again. But all that starts with photos, interior shots, video, images. I think this is a really interesting concept I've been banging around in my head for a while. Like, photos can make every house a smart home.
It definitely interests us as well, is there's a lot of there's so much data in the photos, and one of the things that interests us is like, how do you actually fairly license those photos and that data, like from the creators maybe to the realtor for part of the time, maybe to the homeowner for part of the time, maybe to a portal for part of the time. Right now, it's just kind of like the Wild West. There's just these photos that get created,
Yes.
and there's no real clear. I mean, it's a problem across the entire AI landscape, but particularly in
Yeah.
real estate with the photos, it's kind of become a pretty glaring one with the recent lawsuits.
I do know that Anthropic and I think OpenAI both just won lawsuits about um, the use of like pre-existing data and media to power their AI solutions, right? And I think that's going to probably, again, not being remotely close to a legal professional, I would imagine it sounds fairly reasonable that that would also connect to rights cases with photography. But it is the Wild West. I think it's unfair. I think it all does start with the creator. I think a photographer, if they like, sure, an agent is paying for those images,
Yeah.
but that all comes down to the individual agreement, right? It could be, I know I've seen a lot of photographers that are like, you have specific uses to my photos,
Mhm.
just this listing and after that, or whatever it might be.
That's pretty
I
common.
will, yeah, I will always back the creator. Like I said earlier, I think photography, there is a lot of skill to it. Yeah, I can point my very high end iPhone 16 at a house and use some apps to edit it. But do I really know what constitutes a good photo? Maybe. I don't know. Just because the app told me, I don't know. But that's where the difference comes, I think, with professional photographers. And the rights issue, yeah, especially with all the different portals and apps and the way AI uses it. And yeah, it is the Wild West. And I don't know what the solution is or where an answer is going to come from. But I'll always default to the creator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it used to be a little bit more obvious, right? So like the photos utility was for the sale of the house. These are marketing photos for the listing. But now these photos have this super long life where they're being packaged and resold as large data sets. A lot of these platforms have hundreds of data analysts, armies of data analysts that are doing exactly what you've laid out. They are analyzing and labeling and annotating these photos for models to train on, and rightfully so. I think this is a new wave. There's new opportunities here, and really that's what we kind of see as the opportunity as we're talking to photographers, as we're talking to the people who use photography. Like we don't have to see this as like an all bad thing. That these are and most photographers, if we're being honest, like they're not super precious about their photos, particularly in the scale of like it's one of 10 million being used to train on cottage kitchens, or some kind of specific thing. But most of the licensing, it really comes down to like, is this being, put on a billboard somewhere or being used on someone's website or being resold to another realtor for the second time the house is being sold. But there's a lot of people who need these photos in large aggregate, so we want to create an opportunity on both sides. I think that's the world we're hoping to see happen.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you could argue the photos have more value than ever.
Yep, I think they do
Right.
in many ways, and it's really going to depend a lot on how the legislation shakes out. Because I mean, maybe there's other lawsuits that I'm not familiar with that you're referencing, but like Anthropic just settled a lawsuit that I think valued books they ingested at about $3,000 per author.
That's it.
For
That's
instance,
that's the lawsuit I was talking about. Yes, you're right. There was a settlement, but it was for Anthropic. It was
it was over $1 billion, or maybe that's low. It was a lot.
yeah, but for them, I don't. I mean, I think that's
Really low.
that's all they had to pay to like.
Rip off an author's entire work essentially and ingest it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's basically gives them endless carte blanche from here on out. Like they're like, okay, we're good. I mean, I hate that. I'm being cynical about it. Like I don't love that, but yeah, it's the other like. Look, I get it. I'm not. I call myself a sustainable capitalist. I'm like, make all the money you want, but be aware of what that pursuit of wealth does to those around you. And I think the AI companies have kind of won at the moment about really like kicking cans of regulation down the road. And there's so much, the current administration is all in on AI. And look, I understand its benefits and where it's going to lead, but it's like you have issues like this, like they've given the AI world so much power
Yeah.
that I think in the end, the creators are going to get kind of stepped on throughout this whole thing. And I don't love that. Look, I'm a writer. I grew up being a creative writer. I work on fiction stuff on occasion, and whatever. If something hits down the road, I wouldn't be psyched if it turns into something that I didn't authorize or want it to be. I get that. Like, there's true natural talent and skill in creative services, and to see it kind of just be used to train these giant machines that are worth that's all it comes down to. They're just worth so much more money. It's unfortunate. That's, that's the reality.
Do you have any concerns about when AI gets it wrong, particularly in real estate? And what I mean is, right now, a lot of people are using AI for writing listing descriptions, as an example. But if they get a piece of information wrong, same thing in editing, it changes a corner into some corbold thing, and like it hallucinates or makes up information. What do you think? I think what's happening right now, at least there's a little bit of skepticism, from the people that are using these tools, that they're at least double checking the information most of the time. And I think we're going to be trusting them more and more, to the point where it's so automated and people will be trained on this system. They've never written their own descriptions. We're talking about that happening, within the next few years. People will be coming into the industry and have never written a description and may never have to. So do you have any concerns about like how AI and that level of automation may basically kind of break down the industry in some way and over to dependence?
Specific to the real estate space, you still have to be accountable for everything. It's just like entering information into the MLS or into a contract. I remember when I was selling investment property, a coworker forgot to check a box that led to basically allowed the buyer to walk out of the deal and collect get all their money back from.
Oof.
I forgot what the exact clause was, but basically they could just walk scot-free without any penalty. But that just comes down to like, if you're going to use AI for a process or to communicate the benefits of a property, the features of a property, you have to double check all that. You have to still be accountable to it. It can speed up your process. So it takes away the manual aspects of it. Sure, the form or what have you, whatever the example, whatever the use case is, the form is filled out in 30 seconds and not 20 minutes. So multiply that by 3-4 forms a day. You're saving yourself a considerable amount of time, but you still have to double check those. So you're still saving time, but you still have to be accurate. You're getting that way. But we're having more, like now you have AI that can audit your work. Check my work for this, for that, and that's actually helping a lot as well. So it is getting better. I'm not too worried about that. I still think there is a very heavy concern, and there always has been, with making sure information is correct, right? And I think that is one habit, thankfully, the real estate industry is going to take a long time to forget how to do. Right? It's going to be a hard habit for them to break.
I've got one last question for you. This will take a little bit of imagination. But if you were to take a listing today, you're going to have to, knowing what you know now, 10 years of writing and reviewing PropTech companies, how would it be different in how you would approach that today? And what technologies do you think would speed up that process, and things that you would do differently today that maybe you wouldn't have done 10 years ago?
I am actually at a point now where I would swallow my pride. I would let an AI write a description. I would then tighten up that description myself.
Sure.
I would, you got to get it into the MLS, all that process aside. But I would use AI to create that. I would drop a few photos into whatever maybe ChatGPT, maybe it's Claude, and say like basically put all the information. I would put all the information into one of these AI models. Give me the highlights of this property and and put in the market information. Tell me the best potential audience for this listing. Right. And then it would spit back, it would use comps, it would use live market information. It would spit back a marketing plan for that particular property. I would then use that marketing plan to launch an initial like onslaught of the market. Like, here's what they told me here. I would see what the leads come in. I would use the AI to analyze those leads. If I get specific names, I'd be like, find all the information you can on this John Doe. What are their demographics? I'd verify that that is the correct person. I would create a persona, and then I would tell the AI to create a marketing plan based on that persona and give it to me within a 25-mile radius. I would just keep using the AI to filter down my audience and then offer me marketing plans. That would save tons of time and thought, and it's personalized and contextual to that specific listing. That's what I think agents can be really powerful doing. They could take their last 10 sales, put in the information on those people and those sales, right? So here are my last 10 buyers I worked with, right? Put that information into Claude or ChatGPT or what have you. Tell them to build personas based on those last 10 sales, and then say, all right, with these personas, give me a marketing plan. And it gives you a marketing plan, and then you execute it. Right. And then you like all marketing takes massaging along the way. Right. I would use it for that. I'd use it for these real strategic processes. The surface level marketing stuff, that's table stakes. Like those, look, I'm fortunate. If I needed to, I can write a good listing description in 10 minutes and it would be good. But I want to use it. I want everything to be contextual and very targeted to that specific property or that specific buyer persona. And those are ways people can use AI to create like really specific targeted marketing plans for every single listing. Or if they want to get new buyers, right? Like I would use it for those processes. That's how it wouldn't necessarily be the tactical getting the listing into the MLS and getting it onto a website. Like that's not where that I don't think is its highest and best use. The biggest thing agents have trouble with is understanding the market for a specific house, how to price it right, all these sort of things. And if AI can help in those processes, those really high level strategic steps, then the industry is going to be better off.
Love it.
Okay, my last question is connect the dots for the other side of our audience of if you're this bionic realtor engaging in all this hyper specified marketing, where would you still in that world look to a media professional, or would you, to get the media that's going to be the raw material of that process you're describing?
Would absolutely.
Or what media would you be looking for?
I'd get a photographer in there right away who can also do video. I think YouTube, get them on, like get in there, get me all the good photos. I want 25 good photos to use throughout the process. And I'd use them at different stages too. Like, I think sometimes what happens is with photographers, they put not photographers, with the agent, they take all the good photos they put them all out on the listing at one time.
Yeah.
I don't think you should do that. Put 10 out there. And then if the listing stalls, put different photos out there. As a way to that's how you really refresh a property. Yeah. Show them something, because that's everyone's so used to looking online. Oh, I've seen this one. I've
scrolled past it 5 times. Yep.
Yeah, and it becomes familiar to them. But if the photo's different, hey,
what's different?
I didn't. Yeah, so I suggest doing that. If you have to go back, don't just do it once. Use photos as like an ongoing, dynamic thing. Hey, can you go back in 2 weeks because the tree in front, the aspen in front is now yellow and it looks sweet. Go get better photos. Let's refresh this again. But I would also have them, if I know a lot of photographers can also do video, if they can, do it, because I want to get this up. I want to have video everywhere I can as well, in addition to the stills. Yeah, and now this comes with the idea that like if I've been an industry professional for a while, then I have a photographer, that I use often. I would also suggest if for agents that are listening, if you have a good photographer, give them a retainer. Keep them on hand. Don't pay them per project. Cut a deal with them where you pay them every month and they're on call for you. And, and I know a lot of photographers, right? They're independent. They would like recurring income and they give you priority. You always know they're going to be there. You've proven your value to them. Like keep them on staff. Hold on to those resources, right? That's a business asset. Invest in it. Use them.
Cool take.
There are a lot of photographers that would really appreciate that work.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think so. I think that's a great way to do it. Yeah, and that's a competitive advantage, right? Like if that obviously that photographer is going to want other business, right? I'm sure you can't pay them enough to be an annual salary, but they're going to prioritize you when time comes, right?
All right, Craig, very last thing. Tell listeners where they can follow you and engage you. You have like an Instagram to follow and where can they read your work?
No one's going to want to follow me on Instagram. It is a morass of like wildlife advocacy, dog pictures, and really awful takes having to do with politics. I break all the rules. The best thing
that sounds pretty interesting to me, but
I'm a loudmouth in that respect. LinkedIn is probably best. I'm just Craig Rowe on LinkedIn. It's just pictures of, I think, some snowboard tracks I laid down a few years ago. And yeah, I try not to be the stereotypical LinkedIn person. I think everyone just takes themselves way too seriously on there, and I'm trying to shake it up a bit. That's probably the best place, as well as just on Inman. INMAN, Inman.com. I'm one of the technology bylines.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Craig, for joining us. We very much appreciate it. Some awesome content that I'm sure our listeners will be very interested in. So
I hope so. Thanks very much, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for asking me to be on it.
You got it.
Thanks so much.
See you later.